Part 1.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you'll have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. You will hear a man buying tickets over the phone. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Municipal Museum of Art, Information Desk.
Yes, I'd like to find out about tickets for...
Tickets? That's our special events department. Let me transfer you.
Special events?
Yes, hello. I'm interested in the series you have going on now.
Oh, you mean our lecture series on the history of art?
Actually, I meant the concert series.
Oh, yes, of course. It's already begun, but there's still a concert tomorrow. That's Thursday. There's also one on Saturday, and then the last one is on Sunday.
The one tomorrow, is that when they'll be playing the Mozart concerto?
Yes, it is.
Then I'd like 2 tickets for that, if they're still available.
Yes, we have some tickets left. Now, I'll need your name.
It's Stephen Milford. That's Milford.
Since you want tickets for tomorrow, there isn't time to mail in a check. You'll have to pay by credit card.
That's not a problem.
Then I'll need your credit card number.
Oh, of course. It's 1659798
8164. Got it. Okay, you wanted 2 tickets, right?
Yes.
At £16.35 apiece, that comes out to a total of £32.70. You can pick up your tickets at the door.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 6 to 10.
Fine. Could you tell me how to get there? We're coming by train.
Certainly, it's very easy. When you get out of the train station, you'll see the library right across the street. Just walk down to the corner.
Do I go right or left out of the train station?
Oh, sorry. Go right, walk down to the corner. Right there on the corner you'll see a bank, and across the street on the opposite corner is the post office. There are some office buildings across the street too. Anyhow, you just go right at the corner, past the car park, and you'll see the museum right there in the middle of the block. If you get to a hotel, you've gone too far.
So right at the corner and past the car park, but not the hotel. All right, I think I've got it.
Great. Make sure you're here by 7:30.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to Part 2.
Part 2.
You will hear a recording of a radio show about tourism to Raven Island. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Good afternoon and welcome to Travel Time. Our guest today is Sheila Farnsworth, Director of Raven Tours Travel Agency. She'll talk to us about travel to Raven Island.
Thank you, George. Raven Island is becoming quite a popular tourist destination, and with good reason. The prices are still low, and there's so much to enjoy there. Most tourists to Raven Island usually spend their time in one of two places. Ravensburg is the major city on the island, though with a population of only 56,000, it's not large by most standards. But for those who enjoy a more urban-style vacation, Ravensburg is where they go. For those looking for a bit of peace and quiet, Blackstone Beach is a favorite destination. This town, located on the island's northern coast, has a population of just 12,000 people. The weather on Raven Island is always nice, especially during the summer. Summer in the city of Ravensburg is warm, with average temperatures reaching 26 degrees or higher. And the weather is always pleasantly sunny there during July and August. Summer at Blackstone is a bit cooler, with average temperatures of around 23 degrees, and the weather is often windy because, of course, it's located on the coast. Ravensburg has a lot to offer visitors. Its clubs and theaters are well known, so if entertainment is what you're looking for, Ravensburg has the advantage there. The disadvantage to this is that particularly during the Summer Theater Festival, the city can become quite crowded with entertainment seekers. Blackstone Beach, on the other hand, is famous for its many fine seafood restaurants, considered to be the best on the island. So if you like seafood, that's the place to go. Unfortunately, eating seafood is the major activity in Blackstone. It's a very quiet town, which is a disadvantage if you're looking for excitement. How can you get there? The Ravensburg Airport is actually located a bit out of town. It's 25 kilometers from the city, but frequent bus service, taxis, and car rentals make it quite easy to get downtown. Travelers to Blackstone Beach also use the Ravensburg Airport, which is about 75 kilometers away. There are 3 buses a day from the airport to Blackstone, or you can rent a car, of course.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 18 to 20.
Because of the low prices on Raven Island, many tourists travel there with shopping on their minds. What are some of the best bargains available on the island? Well, contrary to what one might think, native handicrafts are not a popular item. And although Raven Island has a beautiful musical tradition, there are not many CDs available of the native music, and the ones that are available are quite expensive. Some very good deals can be found, however, in the perfume shops. Raven Island Scents, a local factory, produces several fashionable perfumes, which they sell at reasonable prices. Jewelry is also popular among tourists, and jewelry shops abound. Since fishing is the major island industry, no tourist goes home without a package of smoked fish. If you want to try fishing yourself, however, be sure to bring your own fishing gear. Believe it or not, it's difficult and expensive for tourists to buy it on the island.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
Part 3.
You are going to hear a conversation. Before you listen, please look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen to the conversation and answer questions 21 to 30. Hi, Rita. Come on, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Hello, Jane. How are things?
Okay.
Well, as I explained on the phone, I'm a counsellor here at the Student Services section of the university, and I'm interviewing overseas students to help me draw up a guide for new students. So I'd be grateful if you could tell me a little about your time since you've been here in Cambridge.
Right. Good idea.
Now, Rita, let's start with you. Okay, this is your second semester, isn't it? Could you tell us something about your first impression of the town when you arrived?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was struck by how quiet it is here in the evening.
Yes, I suppose Cambridge is a quiet place. Where did you live when you first arrived?
Well, I went straight into student accommodation. It was kind of a student hostel.
All right, so you didn't have to worry about doing your own cooking or anything like that?
No, but sometimes I wished I had. Food at the hostel was awful.
Oh dear. But how were the other students?
To be honest, I haven't managed to make friends. Even though the place is full, people seem to keep to themselves. They're not really very friendly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, what about the actual course? You're studying,
I'm doing a master's course in environmental studies.
All right. And how are you finding that?
Yeah, well, it's been pretty good, really. I've enjoyed the course, but I feel there hasn't been enough contact with the lecturers. They all seem to be incredibly busy. The only chance I've really had to talk to them was on the field trip.
Well, that's no good. Could anything be done to improve the course in your opinion?
Well, I think it would be helpful to have a meeting with the lecturers on the course. Say once a fortnight, something like that.
Regular meetings. Yes, that could certainly help.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have 30 seconds to read questions
Now, Rita, we'll come back to you in a minute, but I'd like to ask Jane some questions. Jane, where are you from?
I'm from Indonesia.
And how did you find Cambridge when you first arrived?
Well, I like it here. I think the city is very beautiful.
What about your accommodation? Was that okay?
Yes, okay. At first I stayed with a family for 3 months. They were very kind to me, but they had 3 young children, and I found it difficult to study.
Right, I see.
So after 3 months, I moved out, and now I live with 2 other students in a student house. It's much cheaper, and we like it there.
Good. And what about your studies? What are you studying?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Computing.
Computing. I see. Apart from the language difficulties, if you can separate them, how have you found the course?
Okay, but...
Yes, go on.
Well, the main difficulty for me is getting time on the computers in the computer room. It's always busy, and this makes it very hard to do my practical work.
Yes, I'm sure that it would. Can you reserve time in the computer room?
No, you can't, but it would certainly help if we could reserve computer time.
Yes, I'll look into that and see if something can be done to improve things over there. Now, let's go back to Rita.
The end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4.
Questions 31 to 40 are based on the lecture. Before you listen, please look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen to the lecture and answer questions 31 to 40.
The peregrine falcon, Falco peregrinus, is a majestic prey bird with slate blue upper part and cream-coloured underpart. Its underpart is distinguished by horizontal black barring and spotting. The peregrine's elegant head pattern makes this species very distinctive, even from distance. Male peregrines weigh an average of 611 grams and females 952 grams. And female falcons hatch eggs, while male falcons spend most of their life in looking for food. The peregrine is a powerful, streamlined bird, but in the early days of research, experts did much on the flying height. It is generally believed that peregrines are capable of soaring to heights of 600 metres. At present, there is still a strong controversy among the scientists about how fast they can fly. Peregrine falcons are expert hunters feeding on songbirds, shorebirds, waterfowl, seabirds, and pigeons, all of which are caught in flight. The peregrine is anatomically specialized for hunting by direct pursuit in open area. The prey often tries to escape by gaining altitude, but the peregrine uses its speed to stay above the prey and then dives, killing the prey by a direct blow of the closed fist. In addition to speed, the peregrine may use the element of surprise, swooping from the direction of the sun or suddenly appearing from behind a cliff or around the corner of one of our skyscrapers. In the breeding season, falcons nest on a cliff ledge, cliff top or ledge or top of the tallest building is also preferred, preying on pigeons in nearby parks. Occasionally, peregrines may nest on the ground. Females lay 2 to 5 eggs in the scrape or nesting site, which is usually just a shallow depression. Eggs are incubated for 32 days, mainly by the female, while the male hunts for food. The young start to fly at about 2 weeks after hatching, but remain dependent on the adults and not full grown until 4 weeks after birth. When they are 4 months old, they are able to hunt on their own, leaving their parents. There are 3 subspecies of the peregrine falcon in Canada. The Arctic peregrine falcon, Falco peregrinus tundrius, occurs across the wide arc of tundra from the Mackenzie Delta to Hudson Bay and Ongava and north to Baffin Island. This subspecies is listed as vulnerable. The Peely peregrine falcon is non-migratory and inhabits the Queen Charlotte Islands and Moore Island, British Columbia. The Peely peregrine is listed as vulnerable within Canada. Most of the southern Canadian breeding populations are on the Anatum subspecies, which is a Canadian endangered species. The peregrine falcon once bred throughout Canada. However, its range has become much more restricted in recent years as populations have undergone declines, while peregrines rarely breed before 3 years of age. Facing such a situation, more scientists start the work on health conditions of peregrines. Recently, a group of experts in Toronto carried out an experiment on the child peregrines. First, they caught the sample child birds, then they attached identification on chicks' legs and foot rings and confirmed the sex. Subsequently, took the blood sample for further examination. Integrating all these data, they would be able to examine the general health conditions of the birds.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take sh**. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take sh**.